Hi everybody, it's your girl Tofu. This is the intro for the video if we do a part 2 of this episode. So before we get started with today's video, I just want to give a huge shout out to our friend and patron TGFC. Gregory, thank you so much for upping your contribution amount. Like, that is so awesome, and it just means a lot to me, especially with the Game of Thrones videos that we do as well as the gaming videos. It just really helps support the channel, and I'm so grateful that you were willing to do that, so thank you so much. Alright, so let's get into the video. I don't see railing. That looks like a particularly precarious bridge. Like, you could just fall right off of that. Like, why did people back then just not approve of railing? Like, all you have to do, just a little bit of railing so that if someone, like, slipped just a centimeter or two, they'd be safe. But, okay.
The whore is pregnant.
I like you, Robert. Don't talk about my girl Khaleesi like that. Robert!
I've got 7 kingdoms to rule!
You're not even ruling them, though, Robert. Ned's doing all the hard work. You're just sitting on your ass. Robert, you're doing jack shit, bro. Like, Ned's doing all the hard stuff for you. Robert, you need a timeout. You're gonna act like a 2-year-old, you get treated like a 2-year-old. Just kidding, you're king.
Mormont, you bring us the whispers of a traitor, half a world away, and call it fact.
Isn't there beef between Mormont and Stark? Is Mormont the one who he's always riding next to Khaleesi, and he's always like chatting with her? He's kind of like a ginger, and I think that's the one they're talking about, not the guy who gave her the dragon egg.
Is it not wiser, kinder even, that she should die now, so that tens of thousands might live?
Oh no. This reminds me of Life is Strange, episode 5, and a few other things that we've encountered in other games we've played. Like, would you rather save one person or save entire communities? Because I've always been able to see both perspectives, but they've got a point. Like, if killing Khaleesi saves the people of King's Landing and the realms and prevents wars, I mean, if it prevents that much bloodshed, is it worth it? But at the same time, like, you're killing an innocent woman and her child. Like, I think there's, like, intricacies to this situation, but if it was just simple, like, would you save the communities or would you save the individual? In general, as someone who has studied a little bit of community psychology, not much, I'm not an expert or anything, but as someone who's seen kind of, like, the focus of the community in academia, like, I think I would have to lean a little more on the side of for the benefit of the most instead of for the benefit of the few. But, like, I also don't want Khaleesi and her innocent unborn child to die. Like, but it's such a tricky situation. What do you guys think, though? What would you do? Because I think I might have, if I was in their position, and I'd probably have to kill Khaleesi and her unborn child. If it saves the rest of the realm. God, I feel like such a crappy person every time I say that, because I saved Arcadia Bay over Chloe Price in Life is Strange, and oh my god, it makes you feel like such shit. I am interested to know what you guys kind of think about that, though.
When you find yourself in bed with an ugly woman, best close your eyes, get it over with.
Of course Littlefinger would come up with that metaphor.
You'll do as I command, or I'll find me a hand who will.
It's like, okay, do it, I'm done. He's taking off the badge thingy. Oh my god.
I thought you were a better man.
Out,
Oh,
you
shit.
done. Run back to Winterfell!
And Ned's like, I don't mind, I can be with my family now. Robert's throwing a tantrum, just like he should, being the 2-year-old he is. Another thing about Robert is he has a certain rigidity and inflexibility to his thinking. He's not willing to see Ned's side of it. He's only willing to see, no, I want Khaleesi gone, dead, and her child too. Like, he's not willing to see another perspective, and that is something that usually children have a harder time with perspective taking until they develop a little bit more. And so it just reinforces in my mind that Robert can be a little bit childlike and a little bit toddler-esque, if you will. And that's very generally speaking, of course. Like, I speak about these, like, sometimes psychological issues, and I'm not trained in them. I am not an expert. I'm just someone who reads a textbook and takes tests on them, you know, so don't assume that everything I'm saying is, like, absolutely correct. Like, it's probably, like, really wrong sometimes, but that's just kind of, like, what I'm seeing. It's just kind of, like, my perspective.
If you're still here come nightfall, I'll take you to see the last person John Aaron spoke with before falling ill.
What's in it for Littlefinger to do that for us, though? To answer some of our questions, or Ned's questions. Like, why would he do that? Like, why would he help us out? He doesn't really seem like the type of person who would help us out without expecting some sort of payment. So I have to question his motives as to why he'd want to help us answer some of the questions we have about Jon Arryn's death.
Who are your best two swords?
Heward and Will?
I really like that guy. A Stark's man who's not quite a sir, I think.
Your aunt has done a bad thing, Robin, a very bad thing. He wanted everyone to know what a good, strong boy his son would grow up to be. The Lord of all the Vale.
This woman is cray. She's a fucking lunatic. 3 seconds into her monologue, and I'm convinced she needs to be put into an insane asylum. Like, holy shit. And why is she still nursing her kid? Why? Lord of all the Vale. You're cray, girl. You're cray. Why is her nipple so close to the camera? Like, you can only do that if you're Roz, sweetie. Like, your nipples aren't as great as hers. You can't... No. You're not Roz. You can't do that shit. Is it an open jail cell? Oh my god. There's no backing to this jail cell. That is a really high up jail cell. Jail cell. Good lord. They're not treating him right. Like, he's still kind of like nobility, right? Like, Tyrion's still a part of like a high up family. Like, even if he's a prisoner, he should be treated a little bit better than this.
You're jealous.
Are they like a thing? Is that why they had the pointed look and that's why Littlefinger made that comment about them being friendly or something like that, you know?
Stannis has the personality of a lobster.
He's still my older brother.
Personality of a lobster.
What are you doing? Look at it.
That was interesting. It seems like not the Night guy is a lot more sensitive and he just seems like he has compassion and he's kind. But the Knight of the Flowers, he seems a little bit controlling, but he's trying to convince the other guy that he should be king, which is interesting. But he just seems a little overly ambitious, you know?
Without a hand, everything will fall to pieces. I'll say this for Ned Stark. He's serious enough. Was it really worth it? Losing him this way.
What? Okay, this is weird. I always got the impression that Cersei never wanted Ned in the picture at all. Like, she didn't want him to be the hand. But okay, this reinforces my idea that she's actually a really smart woman. Like, she doesn't like Ned, like, at all. She kind of wishes he wasn't there, but like, she also sees him as very beneficial for the crown because he's ruling, because Robert can't do his job, and he's good at it too, like managing like the finances and all of that. And she sees that, and she sees the value that he had, even though personally she did not care for him at all. Just because she didn't like someone personally doesn't mean that they still can't be really good at their job. And she's like questioning Robert. She's like, was it worth it? Like, he was pretty good. She's a little more mature than Robert is, if she can see that, because it sounds like Robert has a hard time differentiating between those types of things. If he likes you, you have a position of power. If he hates you, you're dead, you know? But she's able to kind of see them. Like, I'm sure she would have liked Ned dead, especially like since he's kind of like asking all these questions, and I'm pretty sure she's the one who's behind Jon Arryn's death. I'm sure she'd love to have Ned dead, but he's good at his job and he makes the crown and the royal family look better, so she sees his importance. And I don't know, I just think that's really, really interesting. Okay, I'm sorry.
5. 1.
Ooh.
One army, a real army, united behind one leader with one purpose.
Shit.
Wants to own the world. Ned Stark wants to run away and bury his head in the snow.
What do you want?
First of all, with the way I've seen the king treat Cersei so far, it just doesn't seem like this conversation could even happen, you know? Like, they're kind of talking, not like she's advising him, but she's being a listening ear for him, which it seems really out of character for their relationship, because what I've seen of their relationship, they're just kind of like conveniently married, and that's just kind of it. Like, there's nothing more to it. But like, with this conversation so far, it seems like they're not quite friends, but they've got some sort of like ally sort of relationship going on, which I just never saw before. So this is really interesting that he's talking so openly. It just seems so like abnormal for this time period that the king is talking so openly about the politics and his worries and his doubts and his kind of fear to his queen, who shouldn't be quite as knowledgeable about this sort of thing, but she's in a listening ear, and she's kind of holding her own in the conversation. I just think this is super fascinating because I just did not pick up on this like level to their relationship beforehand. See, they're laughing together. I never thought this could even be like a possibility that like this scene would even happen.
What was she like? I thought if I didn't talk about her, she'd just fade away for you.
You can hear a lot of you can hear a lot of bitterness, a lot of sadness in her voice. I just get this weird feeling that Cersei actually really, really had affection for the king, but she was just always standing in Ned Stark's sister's shadow, that she could never hold a candle to Ned Stark's sister, and Robert could never hold her in the same esteem that he held the deceased sister. After years of not measuring up, of not feeling good enough, she just kind of gave up on Robert, but like, I feel like she still has like an amount of affection for him, and if he had returned it to her, I think their relationship could have had a little bit more love in it. Maybe not to the point where I think Ned and Lady Stark, not their level of love, like that's up here, and like right now, you know, Robert and Cersei are down here, but they could have been like right here, you know. And I just think he was so obsessed with Ned's late sister that he, like, Cersei just was never going to be good enough, and after years of not being good enough, of being constantly compared, of not measuring up, like, she just gave up. And you can just hear the hurt in her voice when she talks about it. But like, I just think Robert really missed out, because I think he could have had a really good wife and a good home life, but he just kind of ruined it for himself. Not like self-sabotage necessarily, but like, he couldn't let go of the past. He couldn't let go of the fact that he loved someone in the past. And like, I'm not saying that you should get over people that like you've loved in the past. How many years has it been? It's been what, 17 years, and you're still hung up? It's okay to still hurt. It's okay to still be grieving. It's okay to feel that way, but it doesn't allow for self-growth. I think it just holds you back, and it haunts you, and you can tell it's haunting Robert, and it has held him back in the way that he can't love Cersei or return affection to her. That's why she's kind of bitchy in the way she is. I can't help but wonder how differently their marriage would have turned out if Robert had shown her a little bit more affection.
I can't even remember what she looked like. I only know she was the one thing I ever wanted.
Obviously, he's really hurt, and it's kind of sad to see him hurt like this. But it brings me back to the fact that he's 2 years old emotionally. He got his toy taken away from him. Like, it sounds like Ned's sister was like a toy that he wanted. He wanted so desperately to have this toy, but then the toy fucking broke and died, and he couldn't have the toy. I feel like Robert in his life has gotten everything he's ever wanted. He got king, he gets 7 kingdoms, he gets to fuck who he wants, he gets to do what he wants, he gets almost everything he wants, and when he doesn't want to do his job as king, he finds someone like Ned who will do it for him. He's gotten everything that he's ever wanted, except that one toy. That's just my read on it. Maybe I'm like really wrong. Maybe it's not really the girl herself that haunts him, it's the fact that he never got her, because he can't really remember what she looks like. I mean, that's not really an indicator right there, but the way he talks about her, what he remembers is that he didn't have her. It's not like, I see her smile every time I look up at the sunshine, I hear her laugh every time, blah blah blah. I loved listening to her talk about her life. I loved everything about her. I loved the way she'd take my hand. I loved the way she shoveled food into her mouth. Like, it's the way he talks about her, it's not I loved her, it's I wanted her and I couldn't have her, and that's why it haunts him, because he's gotten everything he's wanted except for her. And I just think that's really, how many times do I say interesting in these videos? Like, could I come up with another adjective to describe something? Like, I'm just like, it's really interesting. Interesting. Like, but it's interesting.
I felt something for you once, you know.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Was it ever possible for us? Was there ever a time, ever a moment?
She still has affection for him, and he knows it. He knows what he could have had in Cersei. I think she could have been like a really good partner to him if he had just given her a little bit of love, you know, just like a little bit. Like, here's tolerance, and if he had just given her a little bit more. He's gonna say no, isn't he?
No.
Oh, fuck. Why do you have to hurt her like that?
Does it make you feel better or worse?
Doesn't make me feel anything.
I think she has a poker face, but I think it does hurt her to know that, actually. She wouldn't have asked if she didn't care at all. She, somewhere deep inside of her, cared enough to ask that question, and she's still hurt by it. I think she's just putting on a brave face.
He just wanted to know if the child was happy, healthy.
Just like with the guy at the blacksmith's. I can't lie, I'm a little confused with this plotline, because I keep thinking that Jon Arryn found out that the queen and the brother were doing things together that should not be done between brothers and sisters, but there's something else going on that Jon Arryn was trying to unravel, I guess, with all these children. But I'm kind of lost. Don't tell me. I swear to God, if one of you tells me, I will hurt you. I must admit, I am a little bit lost with this plot point.
Perhaps Robert wanted them looked after. He was overcome with fatherly love.
Jury.
Oh no. Jaime knows.
You remember my brother, don't you, Old Stark? Blonde hair, sharp tongue, short man. I'm going to open your lord from balls to brains and see what Starks are made of.
Oh shit.
Take him alive. Kill his men.
Oh no, you better... Oh my God. You better not kill his... No. No, no, no. No, no. Don't do it. Don't kill him. I like him. Don't kill him. I like him. Don't kill him. I like him. Don't do... Oh! Oh, oh no. Oh my God. It's sticking out through his... Oh my God.
My brother, Lord Stark. I want him back.
Jaime, you're literally canceled. I fucking hate you. Like, I mean, it's good to know that Jaime's really protective over Tyrion. I mean, that's kind of sweet because everyone treats Tyrion like such shit, so it's nice to know that Jaime loves Tyrion and, like, they're brothers and... They just killed... Like, unicorn style. They just, like, stabbed the one guy I liked, right? What's interesting, though, is that Jaime obviously wasn't fighting Ned to kill him because he got, like, visibly upset that someone kind of impaled his leg. He was fighting him to prove a point. Like, that's why he killed all the men around him and left Ned alive, is to prove a point. Which just goes to show, like, we didn't even kill Tyrion. The fact that, like, all we did was capture Tyrion, and Jaime felt the need to go on a killing spree. Like, we gotta place credit where credit is due, and Jaime is a protective sibling. We stand protectiveness over siblings, but not when it involves killing other people. Oh God. Stab. 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 That was a lot. Okay. Okay. Alright. Well, I'm looking forward to episode 6 because Ned just got impaled with a trident. And I really like Ned. Like, Jaime, I'm so upset. I need to take a moment to process, like, what the fuck I just watched. But I will be back with episode 6, probably in about a week. Hopefully sooner because I'm on break, but, like, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I did until, like, the shenanigans at the end. But until the next episode of whatever we're doing, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye, guys.